Hello, and welcome back to my IL2 Ironman Career Mode playthrough. We're flying as Soviet pilot Fedot Gusarov, and we are mainly flying the I16, but as you'll see later, we will try out a different plane for a change. To start out with here, we got sent on a relocation mission, which is simply that we're flying our plane to a different airbase where we'll be operating out of since the Germans are pushing so far east. I mostly kept this in for continuity's sake, but I realize that's not very exciting, so I'm going to cut ahead through most of this. It's a pretty uneventful mission. So as I said, a pretty uneventful mission. Just a leisurely flight to the new airbase. And it's a full day of this. The entire unit's going, as you could see. So that was the end of the Typhoon section of the career mode. And now we're going to start the city under siege, which starts when we fall back towards Moscow. So something really interesting that starts here as well is we get sent a bunch of new fighters. Our unit gets some MiG-3s. And some I-16s, but I mean, the MiG-3 is a pretty big deal as far as having learned to fly it. And you'll start to see that a lot of the fighter missions are going to be given to the MiG-3s as long as we have them. And then other duties will be the I-16, which at this point was pretty much obsolete. So we aren't scheduled to fly at all today, so I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to tomorrow where we do have a mission. And as you can see, we are scheduled to bomb a vehicle column, which should be a pretty fun mission. Off to the runway. So I didn't show it, but I took two 100-kilogram bombs and two cannons, as per usual. So we cross over to enemy territory pretty quietly. All that cloud cover really helped us out there. And as you can see, we run across the vehicle convoy here. And I'm just trying to line up to get a better bombing run on it. I figure if I get aligned perfectly with the road, I'll have a better chance of landing my bombs. Coming at a pretty shallow dive here. I'm going to pick up too much speed. Like I said, the idea is to line myself up the road as best that I can so that no matter what the range is of the bombs, if I'm too early or too late, they're still going to land on the roadway next to the vehicles. Bomb 1, bomb 2, and I'm out. So after the bombs are gone, I try and line myself up for a few strafing runs, since those are mostly soft-skinned vehicles like trucks. I think there's a few armored vehicles in there, but it's hard to be sure. Maybe a handle mag or two. Yeah, it looks like that is a handle mag, which may be why I didn't destroy it. It's got a few rounds on target, but not enough. As you can see, I got a bunch of practice in the strafing, but not a whole lot going on. Especially with just machine guns left. After that last pass, I figure it's time to go back home. I'm a bit surprised we haven't had any enemy fighter presence to come challenge us here, but I'll take it. So unfortunately, we only got one vehicle with all that, but like I said, it was pretty good practice. I think we're doing better than last time. As a unit, though, I'd say we did pretty well. Looks like we killed 6 vehicles and 2 armaments, whatever that is. I don't know if that means like artillery installments or what. But yeah, on to the next day. And honestly, this was a big surprise to me. I didn't realize that the game did this. I figured it would like ask me if I wanted to fly a new plane. But we were just assigned to fly a MiG-3 to intercept some bombers. And after seeing this, I'll be honest, I stopped playing for a bit and I went and messed around in free play mode to just learn how to fly this thing. And I've got a lot I could say about it. It's very difficult. If you've never played this game, you know, landing and taking off can be sort of difficult, but this MiG-3 was like a whole different beast. It has an unlockable tail wheel that unlocks automatically that just makes you skid all over the place when you're taking off and landing. But besides that, it's definitely an upgrade. It's a much faster plane. It's far more stable in the air. It's not as maneuverable, but I think its armament's better as well. It's got some nose cannon guns. I think it's got basically a brush and 50 cal and then 2 machine guns mounted straight up in the nose with a bit more ammo than you get in the I16. So yeah, I've practiced quite a bit with the plane before I came back and started this mission. Which I don't feel too bad about. I feel like my pilot would know how to fly this thing. They wouldn't just give you a new plane and throw you to the wolves. And here the loadout's more explained. I think this mission starts you out with these 2 machine gun pods because we're going up against bombers. But it's 2 additional 50 cals for a total of 3. And then our 2 smaller caliber machine guns as well. And it may not seem like much, but having it mounted in the nose makes it so much easier to aim with. Especially a nice little cluster like that with 3 machine guns. And I'll narrate a bit more what's going on here just because the plane is so different. It's also interesting to have a canopy again, which I wasn't used to. But, I mean, I read it somewhere, but it certainly is true. It really feels like this plane is trying to kill you when you're taking off and landing. Like you don't just sort of lurch to the left, you almost like spin out. The other interesting thing about this plane is it has a different flap system instead of gradually increasing or decreasing the flaps, you can like set a limiter to how far you want the flaps to like come out, and then once you release them, they pop out to that angle specifically. Which I wouldn't say is better or worse, it's just different. Yeah, as you can see here, my nose is sort of swinging left and right, and this is after practicing quite a bit. But we're airborne. Oh, yeah, and we have a very quick landing gear retraction as opposed to our grueling hand crank. It's also just so nice having elevation and, pitch and yaw trim. It's just so nice to try and get your plane to fly straight for these long journeys. So to keep going on the differences, this is not a radial engine. So instead of an inlet cowl, you have a water radiator shutter that you open and close to control cooling. As well as just so many more instruments on my instrument panel, as you'll see here. My favorite being the artificial horizon, which helps quite a bit. It also has a fuel gauge that doesn't require you to pull it out to get a reading. You just have a constant read of your fuel. It's just a better setup overall. I mean, you know, in the I16, you have to sort of duck your head down to even see anything, but this is all right there in front of you. The downside being in this plane, you have very bad front visibility, but the rear is amazing. You can see almost directly behind you if you lean around the back seat. When I mentioned that it was more stable in flight, again, it's hard to sort of convey over video, but you can really throw this thing into turns a lot more confidently than you could the I16. The I16, if you really pull the stick, it'll start becoming unstable. And it wants to go into like a flat spin, whereas this thing has way more leeway in that department. Although it isn't as maneuverable, so there's a give and take for sure. But the speed is just huge, being able to actually catch things. I mean, it's not quite as fast as a BF-109 F2, I don't think. At least not at this altitude, but still, being able to catch bombers or just run away from things, it's just a big difference. I didn't go into this playthrough wanting to fly this plane, but now that I have, I actually like it quite a bit. So skipping the travel time, you'll see that we run into our bomber formation as well as their fighter escort of BF-109s. I definitely feel more capable in this thing. As for downsides, it's definitely less fun to fly. There's something about the I-16 that just is fun. Just the maneuverability and not having a canopy, it feels like you're in a biplane basically. Some pretty poorly thought out attack patterns here, but I think we fix it up. Watching my 6 there, as you can see, the canopy is very, very visible. Again, it's hard to convey, but it's much easier aiming these things. I'm trying to snipe out their engines here. You also get a bit more trigger time with this plane. Yeah, look at that. So our machine gun pods are already gone. They don't give you very much ammo on those things, but now we're back to our base loadout. Probably a little too long of a shot for this thing. It's impressive that none of them have gone down yet. These are pretty tough planes. So we're going to chase this guy. See if we can secure another kill and get that ace. Looks like they're bailing, and there it is. Our 5th combat kill. So Junior Lieutenant Fedov Gusarov is officially an ace of the Soviet Union. that is the last of our ammo, so it's time to head back home. Overall, we did pretty well for a debut for the Big 3. I damaged, I'd say, at least 5 bombers, even though it just gave me the 1 kill. We definitely broke up their formation and stopped their mission short, which is the goal after all. So we're back, and I wanted to show this landing, just to, I guess, portray how difficult this thing is to handle when you take off and land. Deploying flaps. And I think we got a pretty decent airspeed. Everything looks pretty good. Start deploying the brakes, and yeah, that once the tail wheel gets unlocked, I just spin all the way around. Take a lot of rudder control to keep the plane from flipping, but that's what I'm talking about. But I'm pretty happy with that whole mission. I mean, landing aside, I'd say it went very well. There's our trajectory. So we chased those guys for quite a bit. There's the German offensive. As you can see, our lines have changed quite a bit since the last mission that you saw. There it is, our 5th kill. And surprisingly, we lost quite a few pilots there. I'm kind of surprised. I guess probably that BF-109 tangle at the beginning. A bit of a shame, but at least we stopped those bombers. And I believe with each of those getting down, we're also losing a MiG-3, which are a limited resource. But thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see how far we can get Fed Off going.